like to call the, let's see, September 2016, I'll get with it in a minute, County Commission meeting to order. The first thing on the agenda, we have the invocation and pledge. The invocation by Commissioner Betsy Hester and pledge by Commissioner Ricky Jones. Please stand.
Dear, can we bow our heads for the prayer? Dear Lord, we thank you for this night. We thank you for the safety that we have received during this day after our remembrance of 9/11. I want to thank you for allowing us to live in this wonderful county, and thank you for the communication that we have with you. Please help us and direct us this evening as we make decisions for the county. And dear Lord, I ask you to please be with the family of Shannon Jones and former Commissioner Mr. Clyde Pewitt with his family on this evening. We just ask for your hedge of protection to be around those families. I want to thank you for our veterans. I want to thank you for our active duty personnel, whether they be here at home or abroad. And Lord, I want to turn over to you our law enforcement personnel that we have who serve this county so well. And I ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have roll call. If you're present, push your yes button and confirm. Oh, sorry, Kate. Kathy, yours didn't take. All right, record the roll and send.
I have 22 present, 2 absent. Commissioner Tommy Little and Commissioner Brandon Ryan.
I have heard from both of those commissioners, and they will not be joining us tonight, so we wish them well. Next, I'd like to move up on the agenda. We have the chairman and the chairman pro tem. And if there's no objections at this time, I'll turn it over to Jeff Wigby to take over the meeting from here.
The floor is open for nominations for a one-year term for chairperson of the Williamson County Commission. Are there any nominations?
Commissioner Jack Walton.
Oh, is there a second? Are there any other nominations? All those in favor of nominations ceasing, cast your vote by saying yes. Those opposed, no.
Yes.
All right. All those in favor of Commissioner Walton for chairperson of the County Commission, signify your vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Commissioner Walton has been elected chairperson of the Williamson County Commission for a one-year term. Congratulations.
Thank you, and I appreciate the support. Next, we'll open it up for Chairman Pro Tem.
Good job.
I'll entertain a motion.
Commissioner Luke Reed.
Proper
Second.
motion.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Ricky Jones. Any other motions? I hear none. All in favor of Commissioner Green signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And he is confirmed for a one-year term. Thank you, Lou. Next, we have the approval of the minutes that was mailed to each commissioner of the July 11th, 2016 County Commission meeting. I'll entertain a motion for those.
Second.
Commissioner Chalfant, Commissioner Bain, the second. All in favor of those as submitted signify by saying aye. Opposed? And, all right. Next, we have citizens communication. And we have four people wishing to speak. Each person has 3 minutes. When I call your name, please come up and state your name and your address for the record. The first one I have is Daniela Kuntz.
Good evening. I'm Daniela Kuntz. I live at 132 Cavalry Drive, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. Dear Chairman and dear Williamson County Commissioners, as you may remember, I spoke before you on February 8th and on March 14th of 2016. I gave you some handouts tonight to inform you of the Sunset Elementary Middle School paint fumes incident and the resulting parents' complaints due to students' exposures and illnesses linked to the unhealthy indoor air, which required medical attention to many children. It has been since 2009 that I requested of Williamson County Schools District to refrain from letting workers paint hallways or to perform other such indoor air polluting works when kids and teachers are at school. Many other parents had the same concern, and it has not been an isolated incident. It still has been happening here and there. The biggest issue for the school district seems to be the lack of resources to hire more contract workers to do such projects for when schools are closed for longer breaks. In the meantime, the maintenance department of the Williamson County School District has purchased two big, expensive fans, which help to air out schools from paint fumes or other contaminants inside schools. It is a sign of improvement of which I am thankful for. Question remains if painting hallways and other indoor air polluting works will still be executed when students are in classes. Prior of the drafting of the new school district budget on November 17, 2015, I met with the Williamson County School superintendent and his counselor, during which I asked them to provide for an item description in their budget, which will include a request for funds for extra workforce for such projects for the new school year of 2016-2017, and subsequently for every new year in future too. I'm wondering if this specific item has been inserted into the school district budget in the meantime. If not, and since tonight you are voting on 2 resolutions that approve more than $50 million for land and construction of 2 new schools, I wanted to make sure to bring this issue up again so that it will be considered in order to provide also for environmentally safer learning spaces for our kids in future. I have been on time for the requests to be included in previous budgets, and I'm hoping the school district did ask for those funds and that you granted them for the hiring of extra workforce, well-being and safety of our students and teachers requiring it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Millie Haverson.
Good evening. First, I would like to thank the commissioners for their time and dedication in making this county the most wonderful county to live in that it is, and a wonderful place to raise our families. I would especially like to thank you for the support that you give our schools so they can continue to be some of the best public schools in the country. We are truly blessed to live here. Next, I want to thank Gordon Hampton and his team at Williamson County Parks and Recs for the outstanding job that they do in running 34 and counting facilities and the countless programs, activities, community events, camps for our young and those of us who aren't so young, and all of the things that they do to enrich our lives all year long. There's something for everyone. That's what it says on Williamson County Parks and Recs webpage, their homepage. We have countless soccer fields, indoor soccer fields, fields for football, flag football, kickball, baseball, softball facilities, volleyball, sand volleyball, tennis courts, racquetball courts, dodgeball, table tennis, fitness and wellness centers, horseshoe pits, art and cooking classes, theater, walking and hiking trails, and even pickleball courts. And I have to confess, I had to look that one up. But I didn't even know what lacrosse was 5 years ago. So we have world-class swimming facilities. We even have parks for our dogs so they can get some recreation and socialization. And we're soon to have the first mountain bike park in the county. So yes, we are very fortunate to live in a county that has so many amenities. And it does seem there is something for everyone, unless your child happens to play lacrosse. Williamson County Parks and Recs does not have one single dedicated field for lacrosse. And the field that has been used for lacrosse, among other things, seems to be dying a slow death. 5 years ago, my son came home from school and said, "Mom, I want to play lacrosse." And I thought, what in the world? Is this some kind of new sport? And actually, it is relatively new in our area. But in truth, it is the oldest sport in the country. It originated in the 1400s, has its origins in the Eastern Woodland Native American tribe. Back then, teams consisted of 100 to 1,000 players. Can you imagine? And the goals were miles apart. Thank goodness we don't have to worry about providing that kind of land now. In the 1700s, the French decided to civilize lacrosse, and the game became much like it is today. By 1900, lacrosse has been recognized as a world-class sport and was played in the 1904 and 1908 Olympics. And it is the goal of the USA Lacrosse Federation to have the Olympic Committee Federation recognize it as a sport by the 2020 Olympics. Today, lacrosse is an NCAA sport and a professional sport and is played in over 500 colleges and universities in our country, 1,400 high schools in the U.S., and women's lacrosse is also growing, and it's played in over 100 colleges and universities, 150 high schools. In fact, it's the fastest growing sport in our country. So why should Williamson County Commissioners care about this issue? Because our high schools currently have teams that play for Brentwood,
Anderson,
Page, Franklin,
30 seconds.
Ravenswood. We have we have over probably 600 children in Williamson County in the high school and middle school areas. And that doesn't even count the women's lacrosse teams. So yes, this is an opportunity to be more compliant with Title IX. Only Brentwood has fields that are dedicated towards lacrosse. The rest of our teams have to kind of beg, borrow, and steal whatever piece of land we can. So it's really not acceptable when we hear that there's just not land available in Williamson County when a county of this size and this affluence. So we need your help. Williamson County, something for everyone. It's time to include those that play lacrosse. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Natasha Palovich. Thank you.
Wow. Excuse me. Second. Okay.
We have another person. Would you
Okay.
like for
No,
them to
go.
go?
Dobro veče, poštovana komisija. In my Serbian language, that means good evening, respected commissioners. This is very hard for me this evening, but I'm coming here with an open heart, and I'm coming here on behalf of my daughter. According to what I just said, I actually can be jailed because I'm in contempt of court for speaking Serbian in front of my daughter. This is a serious order. I understand that Williamson County is a county where I'm a proud citizen. I'm a U.S. American proud citizen. And I believe it's a county that holds education at the utmost, the highest value. And I believe that being a bilingual or trilingual child is extremely beneficial to children. And in this county, one of your own appointed judges has ordered in writing that mother is not to speak Serbian in front of child to anyone non-speaking, and to furthermore assure that the child does not speak Serbian to me in front of anyone non-speaking. I believe that this is unconstitutional. I've always believed since I was a little girl that I had the ability to have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. I had the ability to not be discriminated against in my national origin and my national ethnicity. And I believe that this needs to come to your attention. I'm here tonight not only on behalf of myself and my little girl, but I'm here on behalf of other people that couldn't make it this evening, but they will come, that I have talked to. In general, my concern this evening is I'm asking you to reconsider the position of Judge Sharon Guffey. Judge Guffey has made numerous unconstitutional presentations, not given due process, and where I will be able to file a judiciary complaint. I wanted to bring this to your attention because there are other mothers out there whose child has been taken away from them, and the mother, like myself, has been ordered to vacate my own house without any hearing or due process. And I believe that this country should have due process. I believe you all agree with me. I was vacated out of my house, and this caused my daughter to be moved from one hotel to the other. There was never a hearing on, do you have any family? The answer is no in Tennessee. Do you have any financial means for a hotel or apartment or whatever? No. Or is there any consideration given for your daughter of the instability and inconsistency that this will cause her?
Natasha, 30 seconds.
Okay. I come here with my heart because I would like for you all seriously to consider impeaching Judge Sharon Guffey for all of the unconstitutional things that she took away from a lot of people. I'm really sad to say this, but it's the truth, and it's in writing. I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of mothers and myself, so I hope that you'll consider this, and if you can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Laura Turner.
Laura Turner, 1108 Dickinson Lane, Franklin, Tennessee. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. I am here representing Citizens for Old Natchez Trace, and we will continue to appeal to county officials to stop the planned turn lane from Sneed Road onto one of the most historic roads in the United States. The recently approved supersized subdivision, Stevens Valley, will be generating overwhelming traffic, making traveling the scenic, historic roads in our community a bumper-to-bumper, or simply said, a bummer experience. Citizens has recently posted old-fashioned Burma shave signs at the Sneed end of the Old Natchez Trace. One way, the signs read, Rochford's turn lane, not the right place, adding traffic to Old Natchez Trace. The other way, the signs read, Rochford profits, at any cost, taxpayers pay, historic land lost. Our county's successful economic engine is predicated on our town and country lifestyle. Downtown Franklin provides fine dining and shopping. Within a few miles and minutes, you can be enjoying our scenic, historic, culturally significant rural roads and landscapes. Our county's rural landscape is extremely valuable to the continued success of the county's economic future. However, if this economic engine is going to be fueled by devouring and destroying our unique rural landscape, it will begin to choke. We're already choking on traffic. But when there is little or no country left in the county, business will look elsewhere, and we will be left with overwhelming debt. This county debt is due to development interests not paying their fair share. Citizens for O&T strongly supports efforts to adopt an educational impact fee to fund the future capital needs of the Williamson County school system. The supersized growth generated by Stevens Valley and 2 farms reminds me of cancer cells. Code of a cancer cell is uncontrolled growth.
Thank you. This concludes our citizens' communications for tonight. So next we move on to communications and messages. I've got a couple of messages or communications. The school board has requested we move up resolution 1 and 2 and move it to the top of the agenda where it would belong instead of right. Currently, it's under other, isn't it? Yeah, and so they would like to move it under appropriations under 1 and 2. And if there's no objections, we'll hear it there. So I see none, so we'll hear that. Next item under citizens' communications. And on your desk should be an email I received of the resignation of school board member Susan Curley. So I'll accept a motion to accept that.
I move to accept Susan Curley's resignation.
Okay, Commissioner Smith. Second. Commissioner Allsbrook's the second. You got a comment?
I would move it.
Okay, all right, very good. All right. Is there any discussion on that?
Can I just understand why we have to do this as a commission? I remember other school board members moving, like Terry leave, and I don't remember the commission accepting that resignation. I'm just curious to why this procedure is being inserted.
I'll have to defer to Mr. Cook.
The reason this one's a little bit different is we didn't have any concrete evidence that she left the district. Once we got this, we knew that her intention was to resign regardless of whether she's left the district or not. To accept the resignation, it's got to be acted on the board that has the appointing authority, which is you all. You all have to accept it.
So even so when Terry left.
No, he came out and said he's leaving the district. We knew that.
So did Susan. She publicly resigned.
She resigned, but she did not say she was leaving the district, and we didn't have any concrete information saying that she left the district. This is different.
Okay, interesting.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor of accepting her resignation signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So we will accept that. Now move on to proclamations.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may touch
I'm sorry.
on that. It's the hope of Commissioner Osbrooks and I to bring a nomination for a school board member to the October meeting. We would like to ask any resident of the 12th district who has an interest in serving in that position until the next general election, please provide your indication of interest, resume, qualifications, whatever you would like to send in. If you would send that to the county mayor's office, and we'd appreciate it if you do that by September 23rd. That will give us some time to review that and hopefully bring you a nomination at the October meeting.
All right.
Thank
Very
you.
good. All right. Now we'll refer to Mayor Anderson.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we've got 2 proclamations. The first one, if you don't mind, I'll ask Chad Gray to step up here with me. It's a proclamation declaring the month of September as National Voter Registration Month and September the 27th as National Voter Registration Day in Williamson County. Whereas the National Association of Secretaries of State has declared the month of September 2016 as National Voter Registration Month and September the 27th as the National Voter Registration Day, it's important to remember the sacrifice of many Americans in the cause of suffrage and their honor and their exercise over civic duty by participating in the electoral processes by voting. Whereas over 12,000 residents of Williamson County have already registered to vote during this calendar year alone, and Williamson County has consistently ranked in the top 3 counties in Tennessee for voter participation over the last several presidential elections, including the highest percentage of turnout in the state at 77.4% in the November 28 contest. So it's by my signature that I have proclaimed these 2 dates, and I will ask Chad to say a few words if you'd like. Chad?
Chairman Walton, Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be here tonight and recognize that it is National Voter Registration Month. The deadline to register for the November 8th election is fast approaching. It's Tuesday, October the 11th, and the early voting period is October 19th through November 3rd. We'll have 7 early voting sites. You have a pamphlet on your desk, and November 8th is Election Day, Tuesday, November 8th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your Election Day polls. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chad. The next proclamation we have is, if I could ask Jason to come up. Dr. Looney is out of town. This is joining the Williamson County School System proclaiming September 2016 as Be Nice 3.0 month in Williamson County. Williamson County has had a tradition of Southern hospitality and graciousness and values the culture of kindness that was born out of the Be Nice movement created over in Fairview by the students and the staff and adopted by all of the Williamson County students and the staff. And the Williamson County can serve to be an example of what counties can aspire to through the individual simply being nice, doing good, and by giving where there is a need. And whereas the Kenroe parents and the PTO work with the state legislators to secure a Be Nice license plate for Tennessee residents with proceeds benefiting the Be Nice campaign of Williamson County Schools, with pre-orders being taken now. Our county and its citizens, business and public service continue their effort as being kind and encouraged, have joined together to promote a campaign of niceness that celebrates and strengthens the spirits of Williamson County and all those who live, work, and play in our county. I have signed this proclamation. Jason, any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I may, Mr. Mayor, just one. Our PTOs are doing the fundraiser with a Be Nice license plate. I encourage you all to go out and get that if you'd like to. They're technically called vanity plates, but it's not vanity to put Be Nice on your car. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on, now we'll have Mr. Jones.
Before Mayor Anderson gets up, first of all, I'd like to, on behalf of my family, just say thank you. After losing Shannon, the kids and all really, and my family, the in-laws, really appreciated everybody that took time to send a card, show up, phone call, text. But I just wanted to say thank y'all publicly. And in the next line of business, the state Tennessee County Commission Association will have a regional meeting Thursday, September the 22nd at Henry Horton State Park. Hope everybody's got an email on that. If you would like to go, I'll get with Gordon and try to secure a van or something. We've always been easy. He's been great to work with. So if you'd like to go, let me know, and we'll let the mayor's office know, and we'll try to get enough people to drive together in one time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Kaestner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just take a second. I just want to give a shout out, if I can, to the Williamson County Rescue Squad. I live next door to the Meeting of the Waters, which is I'm quite lucky in that regard. It's the oldest brick home in Williamson County, built in 1809. 33 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and it caught fire on July 25th. I think a lot of people didn't know that. And the rescue squad showed up. There were multiple tanker trucks, pumper trucks, guys from I think 4 different fire stations, maybe more. And they fought that from 10 o'clock at night until 3 in the morning and just did a fantastic job. And happily, the only part that was destroyed was the new addition, and the old structure still stands. But it's just unbelievable. If you haven't ever seen those guys in action, it is incredible. And everybody in the area is just very, very thankful. So,
Well, and if I may
Chief Hood.
piggyback on that, they're all volunteer.
I know, and they're amazing.
And I mean, I know a lot of them, and some of them are full-time firefighters during the day.
They're amazing.
and
I try not to
volunteer
get in their
at
way.
night. Yeah, they're great. So thank you for saying that. Mayor Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could, we're going to have several people step up to the mic under my heading. First of all, of course, will be Nena giving us the snapshot of the county financial picture. And then we'll also have Michael Sanders come up from the Marriott for his quarterly report. And then finally, I'm going to ask Gordon to come up and give some comments in regards to some of the emails that you've been receiving in regards to the lacrosse situation, the other side of the picture. Nena?
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. I do have several reports for you this evening since we didn't meet in the month of October. One of the reports that I have for you is the detailed budget summary. I bring this back to you because in the July meeting, the schools had not completely closed out their books, so this is their final numbers for their fiscal year end. Also, I have the July privilege tax report. We're starting off still strong in those collections for the month of July. We collected a little over 1.2 million in total. I have our monthly budget reports this evening. I did bring back the June 30 report. Again, the schools had not closed out, so this is their final numbers for the month of June, our fiscal year end. Also, July budget report. I have brought a new format to you. This is more in line with what our reports look like within our department. So it's the same information, just at the bottom on the appropriations. We did break out separate the encumbrances, which are purchase orders. They were added into the year-to-date number. So now you'll see that as a separate line on the appropriations. Also this evening, have a couple of memos for you. I guess I kind of burned the biscuits, as the mayor says. Our 2015-16 tax anticipation note. I did fail to report the CT-0253 form to you. So I have included that in your packets tonight. If the clerk could please put that in the minutes that they did receive that. Also, there is a memo for the approval of the 2016 tax anticipation note. One of the requirements is that you have a copy of this letter, and we needed that noted in the minutes as well. Also, due to my error of reporting to you the 2015-16 CT-0253 form, they did ask for a voice vote that we will follow. The terms and conditions that are listed actually on page 2 of the letter from the state under the tax and revenue anticipation note approval section. There are several items under there which we do follow each year. I think Mr. Commissioner Smith
Mr. Chairman,
does have that.
Yeah, Commissioner
since
Smith.
I'm acting on behalf of Commissioner Little tonight, I would like to make a motion that this county commission agrees to the terms and conditions listed in the letter that you all received by email for the issuance of the 2016-17 tax revenue anticipation note. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Proper motion, second. Any discussion? Let's see, Commissioner Danner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Nena, can you just, I appreciate your transparency, and I love that saying that the mayor says we burnt the biscuits. And so I just want to understand a little bit. So this is 17,600,000. What's the amount here that I'm curious of a couple things.
Okay.
Is that the amount that we're talking about that we forgot, that we didn't report for the
No,
debt?
this is for the 2016-17 tax anticipation note. That was approved in resolution in July, and we can borrow up to 17.6 million if needed.
Oh, okay. If we could borrow it if needed.
Right.
But we don't need to borrow it, or we are going to borrow it, and
Those are operating funds for the schools. So if Ms. Holman calls me and tells me that they need that, we would borrow it at that time.
And we do typically do this at the end, right before our July meeting. We often do it in lieu of borrowing, or so they can make the end of their budget. Or is that a
It's
different?
usually at the beginning of the
anticipation
year.
notice.
And this is before all of our taxes start coming in December and January, so that they can meet their operating obligations until those funds start coming in.
Okay, thank you. I think I understand.
Any other discussion? I see none. We have a motion and second. Can we voice vote this? Yeah. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it passes.
Thank
Nena,
you.
Back to you.
Also this evening, I wanted to briefly touch on, we have a couple of intent to fund resolutions, and just our process for intent to funds and bond resolutions. I know in the May Commission meeting, there were discussions on a couple of the intent to fund resolutions for the Beasley property. There was a request made to bring those back as separate bond resolutions and not to bundle them in with other projects. I did discuss this with our financial advisor and bond counsel, and we can do this, but it is not a common practice across the state or among our peers. Neither of them had ever heard of anyone else doing this, nor had they either one done that during their practice. There would be additional costs for advertising and cost of issuance. It could also limit the county's current flexibility on how we are able to use excess funds in the future from a project. An example of that would be sometimes if the schools have money left over for a specific project, if it's listed individually, we could possibly have to bring that back through another bond resolution to rename the use of those funds for another project. I just have a concern about this since it's uncharted territory. Beyond those, I'm concerned that it would be bring about the opportunity for errors. We would try in every way not to make a mistake, but my concern is that it would open that door. The intent to fund resolutions are usually the time to offer amendments or other discussions about the projects that are listed within those. You could request at that time to bring out a specific project. And also, once the intent to funds are approved, we usually do work on good faith. I know the school and I do, at looking forward and moving forward that those projects usually will be approved in a bond resolution. So I don't know if there's any questions about that.
Any questions for Nena? Commissioner Kaestner?
I just want to be sure I understand what's going on. So we have an intent to fund resolution, and it aggregates a number of projects under one bond issue, and there had been a request at some point to maybe break the projects out and separate them.
Yes, sir.
That seems like a bad idea to me, knowing something about bond issues and how they're all assembled and put together and marketed, and the bond lawyer goes through this process. And I think putting a bond lawyer through repetitive processes would just cost us a bunch of money for no net gain. I think you're exactly right. I think we ought to be able to look at the projects at the time of the intent to fund resolution and deal with any questions at that point in time. And if there is something that needs to be parsed out, it can be parsed out at that discussion. But to do that retrospectively like this seems like a bad idea to me. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Any-
Okay, the final report I have is from the Marriott. We do have the June report. We closed out that month for a gain of $28,889 for an overall gain for that fiscal year of $123,452. We did start out the month of July, though, in a negative of $32,266.50. But Mr. Sanders is here to give his quarterly report.
Thank you, Nena. Good evening, Chairman. Good evening, Board of Commissioners. How are you tonight? So from a quarterly update for the conference center, as Nena stated, ending the fiscal year for the county at 123 up was a fairly strong year, in particularly considering that the renovation took place of the hotel and the conference center last year. If you remember, August, we had shut the conference center down for 3 solid weeks completely, so no revenue stream. And we were very focused on filling that space because the hotel had rooms out all the way through December, so it impacted the amount of guest rooms that we could book into the hotel and events that would fill the conference center. So we put a heavy focus on the catering side of it, and in turn had a positive year. The interesting thing that we're seeing right now is this past fiscal year was a strong association year, and we see that cyclical. So every couple years, as the folks that come to this area will move around the state, but we are seeing in other markets that the continuation in pricing in Nashville and Williamson County, we're not seeing that in other counties across the state, making them a little more viable for groups that are on budget. So we'll keep an eye out for that. We do continue to see a very strong short-term corporate market. It's amazing to me that we can book a $50,000 to $100,000 piece of business 3 weeks out, and that will probably continue based on what we're seeing even through October. To give you an example, from a room side, 45 days out to the start of October, we were short in our group budget by 945 rooms, and we've closed that gap. That's group business that's booking with events in the conference center. It's extremely short term, and it makes it extremely difficult to forecast. And then the other area of focus for us will be the sports area. Obviously that, as I'm sure everyone knows, we've seen a decline in sports, amateur sports in the market. And with the Battle of the Borough this year, which is a big event in July, moving out of the area next year, will have an impact on hotel occupancy. What we saw in July, for the July financial report, is pretty consistent with the patterns that we see across Nena's profit loss spreadsheet. July is always a difficult month for us in that it's a very leisure month, and to get business into the hotel that has a very low average check does make it difficult to offset the wages and the labor dollars and the expense to satisfy that type of business. But we do foresee future months trending upward. Like I said, August is looking good. September, October, looking positive, and then we'll expect November and December to soften. But we continue to stay focused on driving revenue into the conference center, whether it be group business or catering business, so that we can keep the space filled. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Have you noticed any impact from a closing?
Yes, ma'am. Particularly in April, there were events that had already been booked, and when the closing occurred abruptly, we saw cancellations immediately, and we've seen fewer bookings out for future tournaments. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could have Gordon come up and kind of address some of these concerns for lacrosse and our sports programs throughout the county.
Okay, please do.
Good evening, Commissioners. First of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Halverson for all the nice things that she said about the Parks and Recreation Department, and I certainly agree with her. I'm going to use one of the mayor's terms at this time of the night. I want to give you a brief snapshot of the lacrosse programs in the county and how Williamson County Parks and Recreation impacts those programs. Ms. Halverson, she does represent the Cougar Lacrosse Club. They do currently play and use facilities at the Academy Park location here in Franklin. The club is going to be able to continue to use those facilities, or that facility, uninterrupted. There is a construction fence in there right now that did kind of encroach on the playing field because we had to, the footprint of the building required us to move out a little bit into the facility. We had to take the goalpost down, and there's some, from the street it looks like, you know, some of the field has gone away. But as I talked to Coach Hagan today, I assured him that when they start back playing in the spring, they will have the facility available to them like they always have without any interruption. And we feel like the field will be at a regulation playing level as far as the length of the field. Also, as she mentioned, there are approximately 400 to 600 players playing lacrosse in the county. Brentwood High School uses facilities at the parks in Brentwood. Ravenwood currently plays on the facilities at their high school. It's my understanding that as Nolensville Club begins to develop, they're going to use the multi-purpose turf fields that have been installed at Nolensville High School for their games. Commissioners from Fairview can correct me, but I do not think Fairview has lacrosse at this particular time. All the remaining high school lacrosse teams and middle school teams are all playing on facilities that are provided by the County Parks and Recreation Department. We use Grassland, we use the rec center from time to time, we use Academy Park, we use the Downs Boulevard soccer locations, we use Nolensville Park. Any place that we can find a way to squeeze these folks in, we try to do that. Of course, we know that we're having growing numbers in not only lacrosse but also soccer, and nobody's even talked about rugby. which is a huge program that, once again, we don't have any place really at all for those guys to play, or girls either for that matter. So we are doing everything that we possibly can, and we'll continue to do so. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions? Mr. Webb?
Well, come back.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Mr. Webb.
You know, the burden in this discussion seems to be on the county, and you did mention Brentwood and some of the schools that are providing lacrosse fields, and rugby as well, at Crockett Park especially. So what do you see the other cities stepping up to the plate to provide this for their citizens? Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Nolensville?
I currently don't see them doing anything. And that's, you know, that's just where it is right now.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, good question. That concludes my report from all the other people.
Commissioner Danner?
Mayor, just a quick question in regards to the vacancy for the school board. It sounds like you'll be receiving the resumes in your office. I just wanted to make sure, because of that you will be making those public to the press, and you'll be forwarding them to the commissioners as well?
Everything that, if that's what the request is, we'll send them out just as quick as we get them, or would you rather bundle them up? But everything comes in there is certainly public. You want them bundled up, or you want them one at a time?
Does anyone else have a preference? I don't mind either way, but I appreciate Commissioner Osbrooks and Smith letting people submit them to your office. I know what that's like. I wish you luck with that, but I appreciate them sending them to your office. So they will be given to the press then as well.
We'll copy them and scan them out to you.
All right.
That's when they come in.
Any other questions to the mayor? I see none. Thank you. Next, we have Jason Golden, Assistant Director of Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did want to let the commission know that Dr. Looney is at a superintendent's meeting. You may recall about this time last year I came and spoke to you when Dr. Looney was at that same meeting. So I appreciate your time. I feel like in just about every comment that you've heard so far in this meeting that there's some element of the school's involvement. So I'm not going to walk through every one of those items, but it is amazing how well we integrate with different departments. Lacrosse is one example. We do have a number of students who are getting lacrosse scholarships. So it is something that's important to us as a school system. It's not a TSSAA sport at this time, and I say at this time because it is growing quite fast in the county. Did want to let you know that the day after Labor Day, which this year is September 6th, is the day that we kind of focus on as our student number day. The reality is student numbers change from day to day, and so for projection purposes we really look at that day after Labor Day to give ourselves a feel for where we are. As of that day, which was last Tuesday, we had 37,646 K through 12 students, including early childhood, which is a special education program for ages 3 through 5, which is mandatory, and we struggle sometimes predicting those numbers, and pre-K, which is a set number based on partial state funding. We are at a total of 38,111 students. So for capacity reasons, that 38,111 is important. For budgeting purposes, we typically tend to focus on the 37,646 for just so you all are aware of that. I did want to also let you know that we do have a couple of items on your agenda. A number of questions were asked of Dr. Looney at one or two of the committee meetings. I'll be prepared to answer those either Mr. Chair, depending on what you prefer, either now or when those items come up.
Okay, all right. We do have a couple of questions. Commissioner Lawrence?
Good evening, Jason. Thank you for being here tonight. I just wanted to ask you about the school bus situation. I've seen a lot of parents on Facebook not real happy with the fact that some of the bus drivers having to do 2-3 routes, maybe 2 routes, I guess, and their children are having to wait inordinate amounts of time or having to ride inordinate amounts of time. How can you update us on that situation?
Well, yeah, and I could spend an hour talking about it, but I'll try to give you a brief synopsis, or whatever the terminology is. We are about 8% short in staffing for bus drivers, and 8% sounds like nothing until you think it's 20 drivers, and every time a driver's out sick, we're missing a route, and so it is a really big deal. And what we have found is that as the economy grows and improves, it's more and more difficult to find bus drivers. That's not unique to Williamson County. It's an issue in most urban and suburban areas. Typically, the rural areas, in our experience, have not had the pressures that we have had. Many of our sister school districts in other states are facing these same kinds of pressures. So we're doing a number of things to try to resolve that issue with recruiting. And what we found is that we can't simply recruit because there aren't enough people to go around. We actually have state-approved driver trainers who work for the district. We do training ourselves. We do it for free because we have to. There are those commercial companies that actually charge thousands of dollars to get those licenses, but we do it for free for our candidates. So I want to emphasize that we really ask everyone who calls with any concern to be thinking about in their daily lives that there are some opportunities to mention to people that bus driving is actually a really good choice. And I want to specifically mention 3 areas that we have typically found our candidates from. Number one is retirees who are looking for benefits. We have insurance. And a bus driver's job counts as full-time even though they might work 5.5 hours a day with the morning routes, dual morning routes, sometimes 3 if we're having to squeeze in. We don't like to. And then the afternoon routes. It's a great way to work in the morning, have your middays free, work in the afternoon, and have insurance. Second, we found a handful of folks who are self-employed who don't have benefits, who based on whatever their work schedule is, they can take those hours early in the morning and in the mid-afternoon, drive, get benefits, and do their self-employed work in the other times. The third group that we have found more recently is folks who are working retail. The nice thing about that is, again, the benefits, because a lot of retail jobs don't carry benefits, and you get your weekends free. And I hear a cricket, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I've been talking too long or not. But the reality is, right now we're short. We have increased pay, as you all know, in the past. What's become apparent to us is it's not just about pay. It's about the workforce. There just simply aren't enough people right now, and so we have to find creative ways to try to fill in that gap and create a workforce out of the people who are living here right now. I will tell you one thing I think we can do better on: communication with our families. For example, we might have an employee who has had surgery, and they're out for a few weeks. Now, under HIPAA, we can't tell our families, "Hey, your bus driver has had surgery and they're going to be out for 2 weeks." But recently we found that what we do is we announce that the bus is going to have to be replaced. We could, and we are working on being able to extend that and say, until further notice, or for the next 2 weeks, we don't have a driver to fill that. That's not getting to the heart of the problem, but it is a way to communicate better while we're struggling with this great economy. And that's a weird thing to say when we're struggling with this great economy, but that's a big part of it.
One of the things that I heard, this was before I became a commissioner, was that there was some studies done on outsourcing the busing, and there were some numbers thrown around. I heard somewhere anywhere between $1 million to $2 million of potential savings from that for the county. Is that something that we're going to bring back and look at that?
Well, we do have some neighbors who outsource. I will tell you from the staffing standpoint, it's not going to help. It's not going to make it any easier to find drivers. We have had some reports that we could save a little bit of money, and we've debated that question. And where we landed at this point is we may save a little money, but it'll get worse in our experience. The questions and problems will still come to us, and we will be one more level removed from our ability to control it. Now, I will tell you, strictly speaking, I'm a lawyer, so I always think in those terms. We don't have a legal obligation under Tennessee law to provide bus transportation to anyone but special education students. We are not suggesting that we eliminate that. It's too important for our families. But we have considered that. From our perspective administratively, it's just not on the table at this time.
Okay.
Anything else? Commissioner Milliken?
Yes.
Different occasions provided us with this really great chart showing the capacity of schools and where we're at for each school.
Yes.
I know you're extremely busy. Maybe in the next month, could you provide us with another one of those charts given the new school year and the new balancing?
I can actually email that to you tomorrow. We have daily charts, and we include in the daily attendance charts, enrollment charts, and it includes some of those columns. So I will email that on to you all either late tonight or tomorrow.
Thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Danner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Golden, speaking of enrollment's often tied to zoning, and I'm starting to get some questions, and I'm just curious if you could just give us a high-level schedule of when you might be looking at rezoning, and with the new enrollment figures in mind, and as well as will it be countywide?
Sure. Dr. Looney has mentioned some of this to our school board as well. We anticipate that early this spring, whether February, March, somewhere in that range, we will be bringing to the board a discussion of rezoning again. We don't project at this time administratively that any of that will go into effect until the fall of 2018. And that will largely be based on the new Thompson Station elementary and middle schools opening and potentially a Brentwood school opening. And the reality is when you have a new school, you need to rezone. And our anticipation at this point is it will include a large portion of the county. Generally speaking, the central and east side of the county will experience something.
So not this fall, but the spring.
That's correct. The discussions will begin in the spring. What we found is from a scheduling standpoint, from a work management standpoint, and from a projection standpoint, the closer we can get to the actual time it happens, the more accurate our work is. So that's when we're going to start those discussions.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pear?
Mr. Golden, what, just out of curiosity, the bus driver schedule, when do they stop and start and then start and stop again?
So generally speaking, I'm speaking in generalities because we may be 5-10 minutes off depending on the school. Our high school and middle schools generally open at 7:30 a.m. Our elementary schools generally open at 8 a.m. Again, they may be 5-10 minutes off. That's just generally. We have within our strategic plan and practical reality an expectation that bus routes will never take more than an hour. And the reality is when you have an hour gap between schools, that's pretty much all you can do anyway. Now our high and middle school students tend to arrive, all things being ideal if we're fully staffed, about 15 minutes or so before school starts. In the most rural areas, some of those routes start just a little bit after 6 a.m.
So about 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon?
Yeah, it usually, if I'm not mistaken, our minimum time for a driver's work is 5.5 hours, including 2 routes in the morning, 2 routes in the afternoon. So you're pretty close probably on average.
Which counties outsource?
Rutherford.
Is that the only one that you're aware of?
Of our neighbors, that's the only one I'm aware of, yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any further questions? Commissioners, Kaestner?
Yeah, sorry. When we say outsource, just so I understand what we're talking about, you mentioned that wouldn't solve the recruiting problem. So is outsourcing the equipment and the labor, or one or the other, or both?
Well, as I understand, and I'm speaking for Rutherford, but this is my understanding of how they have it structured. They have a number of independent contractors that actually own their buses.
Okay, so it's like augmenting what you have.
Well, and I see what you're saying. In addition to ours,
I'm not recommending we outsource. I'm just trying to understand what some of the neighbors.
Well, as I understand it, Rutherford is entirely done by independent contractors. Whether it's someone who owns a bus or 2 buses, up to a larger
I
number.
see, I see. Is there a minimum age for being a bus driver?
There are a number of minimum requirements.
So to get a full CDL, commercial
you
driver?
have to have a full CDL
Right.
plus additional endorsements.
Okay.
So we often have candidates who have CDLs,
Mhm.
and then we get them the
The rest of the
Yeah.
requirement, okay.
Commissioner Ford?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Golden, I appreciate you being here. On the Be Nice license plates that you mentioned a few minutes ago,
Yes, sir.
where do the funds that come out of those go?
The state has a breakdown of how much the state gets
Right.
on down the line. The portion that would ordinarily go to the entity, like the UT license plates, those kinds of things, are going to be divided equally between the Kinrose Elementary PTO and whichever PTO the individual selects when they get on the website to purchase their license plate.
Okay, so the people who get on, if they wanted to, for example, go to Ravenwood High School, would need to select Ravenwood High School on there?
That's correct.
And the state will handle all that accounting?
That's correct. And we're required to actually have 1,000 pre-orders before the state will actually issue the license plate. So we're in that pre-order stage.
So do those go to the PTOs of those schools, or do they go to the general fund of those schools?
Actually goes to the PTOs. The Kinrose Elementary School PTO came up with this idea, went through the state process to get approval, and so the funds will actually go to the PTOs.
Okay. Second question, last question, you'll be happy to hear. I think there's a couple of public meetings that are coming up in the next month, especially around some of your strategic plans for some of the campuses. Would you announce those so that people who are listening could hear those?
Sure. October 3rd and 4th, we will be having discussions on the board's discussions at their meetings on the master plans at Franklin High School and Brentwood High School respectively. So October 3rd is the Franklin High discussion, and I'm pretty sure those meetings start at 6 p.m. off the top of my head. I can't remember if it's 6 or 6:30. I usually show up way early, so I'm not good on exactly what time they start. And that's Franklin at 6, Brentwood at 6, at the respective high school auditoriums.
Thank you.
Any further questions? I've seen none. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Let's see, where are we? Hospital report, is Paul here? Yeah, there he is.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to see you all. You might notice in your package you got a lot more items than usual. We've been requested to give the full board packet, and we did so. And having missed a commission meeting, you got both the June and July packet. So there's a whole lot of information there. June is actually our fiscal year end, so I was going to make my comments really around the fiscal year. It was a pretty good year. Everybody wants to talk about income. The income was about $9.3 million compared to a budget of $7.9, so we were pretty happy about that. Most of the other metrics were positive, exceeded our expectations with one exception. Our days cash on hand is lower than the industry standard, but that's really because we used our cash to pay for expansion. That was planned, but it is a little lower than it probably ought to be. But anyway, June was good. I wish I could say July was good, but it was not. July was a little bit of a surprise, and I want to kind of preface this. The hospital's a business, has ups and downs. July was a down month. It's going to happen. We know exactly why it happened. You'll notice at the very top the revenue was nearly $8 million short. And this was, July was a kind of a funny month in that there's 5 Saturdays, 5 Sundays, and a holiday. That rarely happens. I started looking through the calendar. So, you know, people don't have surgery on those days, that sort of thing. Plus, a lot of surgeons and other doctors took vacation the week of the 4th. And one of our biggest providers was out on medical leave. So all that added up to $8 million short on revenue. Again, it happens. For the month, we had a loss of $400,000. I've been looking at the August numbers, just trying to find out. It's recovering. I do think August will be on target, but again, July was not a good month. Questions?
Commissioner Osbrooks?
Mr. Boland, I wanted to publicly say thank you to doctors, nurses, staff at Williamson Medical Center. In February of this year, I had outpatient surgery at Williamson Medical Center and then spent approximately the next 13 weeks with weekly visits at Williamson. I received exceptional care, but it was outpatient. I had the unfortunate experience of watching my father have surgery in July. He had a total knee replacement at Williamson Medical Center. I am convinced, had he had that operation somewhere else, we would have had a very different outcome. He received the best care that he could have. And I know you come here and you share the numbers with us, and I appreciate that. I appreciate all the information you included in the packet. But sometimes you need to hear thank you, because it's about the people. And Williamson Medical Center has the reputation of having outstanding people, and you do. I've seen it firsthand. I've been very lucky not having to have that experience at Williamson, but I thank God that y'all are here. So please share my best with the doctors, nurses, and staff at Williamson.
Thank you. I appreciate your kind words.
Commissioner Kaestner?
Yes, Paul, I want to thank you again. I want to repeat the thank you for the additional information. I think it's fantastic. It's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you very much. I hope we continue to see that. It's extremely helpful. Second question, summer is usually a bad season for hospitals, is it not?
Yes, sir.
So you had a few extra things, but I just want all the commissioners to understand that this is the lousy time of the year for hospitals, so no surprise here. Thanks.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lawrence?
Good evening, Mr. Boland. Thank you for being here again tonight. And again, I want to express my thanks for bringing the information that we asked you for in the last meeting. I'm not sure I understand when you said that the revenues were down $8 million. You're down to the current month in the month of July, as I'm seeing it, is $14,151,000. The prior month was about $16 million. So you said $8 million. I'm not sure I understand where you.
Well, I'm talking about July of 2016. It's page 5 of your packet, provided they're numbered the same as mine.
Okay. Well, I was just looking at the financial statement highlights where where you're giving us the current month net revenues and the prior year net revenues, and the month before that was 16 million. The current month net revenue was 14 million. What are you saying is down 8 million? I'm sorry, if I could find your
July actual revenue versus the July budgeted revenue.
Oh, okay, the budgeted revenue. Okay. All right. So, well, I mean, the concern that I have is you know, obviously your revenues were down because you didn't have the patient base, but you also had lower expenses as well because you weren't providing a lot of services that you normally provide. So that sometimes normally can offset itself. Sometimes I know your expenses are set at a certain level and you have to have an expectation, and I get that, but we haven't seen this kind of drop before since I've been a commissioner in July as far as going negative. And in fact, until this year, we haven't seen any negative numbers at all. Now in February you had $575,000 loss, and then this month it was $424,000. So if you look at just this year, since January, my concern is that the numbers seem to be going down, and maybe in terms of the predictions that were made about the opening of the new facility, that it was going to drag down the earnings. And is that becoming reality, I guess, is the question. And is that something that if you can look at the taxpayers, from their standpoint, is that something that the taxpayers should be concerned about?
Well, it's something we're watching closely, and I mean, when you look at the income statement, particularly that 13-month comparison, you can see the big increases in salaries. That is, and it was mostly about the expansion. But I will have to say, just like the school system said, they'll have difficulty recruiting. So are we. We've had to make lots of market adjustments. We're spending a lot more per person now just to recruit and retain. So between that recruitment effort and also the expansion, I mean, the expansion wasn't just children's; it was also a lot of surgery expansion. We've added a lot of staffing. It's something we look at a lot. We have a productivity system within the hospital, but it's not something we typically adjust really fast just because, like I said, August has come back, so we wanted to be sure we had the staff for those surges as well.
Just so I understand for the record, if the hospital were to start losing money on a consistent basis, what would the scenario look like? Would you have to come back to the commission to ask us for money to help you shore up the finances, or in other words, the taxpayers, or how would you deal with a year when you had financial losses?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, we would make adjustments to our staffing and all of our other expenses. We would do that in an extreme way before it got to that point. You know, I won't say that's happened before because we've made adjustments along the way, and we would certainly do that this time. Technically speaking, I think that the way the commission would be involved is if the hospital defaulted on debt. But I don't foresee that happening.
You have like at least a year's worth of debt in reserves, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're prepared to pay at least a year's
That's
worth you
correct.
have in reserve. Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's it.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bowles.
Any further questions? I see none. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Commissioner Osbrooks, did you have anything to add about animal control?
I did. Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
all right,
Chairman.
Okay.
On your desk, everyone received a copy from Laura and the mid-year update for her department, and I just wanted to publicly thank her and her staff. Williamson County Animal Center has had an exceptionally busy summer and, in fact, has broken 3 records. They had 64 animals adopted in one day, which is outstanding. It was a weekend event that was sponsored by Mars, and in that 2-day period, they actually had 102 animals adopted. Also, the highest number of volunteers in July, for the month of July, 2,395 hours. That's equal to 15 full-time employees, so they save the taxpayers the equivalent of 15 full-time employees, which is remarkable. And the last record that they broke involved their spay and neuter. They were able to perform 274 surgeries in 1 month, which is mind-blowing, the month of August. So congratulations to Laura and her team. They're rocking it out there. Keep doing what you're doing.
Great, thank you. Any other committee reports need to report at this time? I want to call attention on your desk. There's a white envelope and it's got your photograph in it from our July County Commission meeting. I was going to say my photograph, but that probably wouldn't get past the trash can, would it? So that's there. Also, there's a series of public meetings regarding the education impact fees, and they're coming up September 14th, which is 2 days from today, at 6:30 at Independence High School. Also, September 15th at 6:30 here in the auditorium. And then again, September 21st, 6:30 at the new Nolensville High School. So I urge you to attend any of those if you can. Also, on a personal note, I'd like to thank Kate Horner and Linda Wheeler for helping me with our little birthday party this morning, and happy birthday to Miss Anderson and Diane Giddens, and we appreciate y'all and hope you have a great day, and sorry you have to spend it with us. So,
We had cake.
well, but we did have cake. All right, moving on to elections and appointments. Next, we have some appointments from the county mayor, the budget committee, Dana Osbrooks, chairman, David Landrum, Dwight Jones, Lou Green, Rogers Anderson as county mayor. So I'll entertain a motion for those. Who's it? Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Beathard, the second. Can we voice vote? All in favor of the budget committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And they're confirmed. The purchasing and insurance committee, we have Judy Herbert, Brandon Ryan, Todd Kaestner, Matt Milliken, and Rogers Anderson, county mayor. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Commissioner Bain. Did I have a second over here? Oh, Commissioner Lawrence, a second. All in favor of the purchasing and insurance committee signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. Opposed? Next, we have ethics committee. Term expiring, Lou Green. Nomination, Lou Green. term expiring Jack Walton, nomination Jack Walton. County Commissioner Ricky Jones, and nomination Ricky Jones. Constitutional County Officer, which is Register of Deeds, Sadie Wade, term expiring, nomination Sadie Wade. And then we have board member, term expiring Rick Berger, nomination Rick Berger. So I'll entertain a motion for those. Commissioner Jones, the motion, and Commissioner Hester, the second. All in favor of those signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's see, we've done those. Investment Committee. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're correct. These are steering committee recommendations for 2016-17. So for one-year terms, the Investment Committee, Tom Bain, Greg Lawrence, Matt Milliken, Karen Paris, trustee, and Rogers Anderson, county mayor. I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Smith and Mr. Allsbrooks, the second. All in favor of the Investment Committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? They're confirmed. The Audit Committee, Commissioner Tommy Little, Dana Allsbrooks, and Todd Kaestner. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Bain, Mr. Danner, the second. All in favor of the Audit Committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? They're confirmed. The Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee, we have Commissioner Barb Sturgeon, Kathy Danner, Brandon Ryan, Sherry Clark, Bert Chalifant, Betsy Hester, Steve Smith. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Kaestner, Commissioner Sturgeon, the second. All in favor of the Law Enforcement Committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Next, we have the Property Committee. Commissioner Barb Sturgeon, Ricky Jones, Paul Webb, David Pear, Betsy Hester, Brian Bethard, and Commissioner Greg Lawrence. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Sturgeon, Commissioner Smith, the second. All in favor of Property Committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Next, we have the Education Committee. Commissioner Judy Herbert, Commissioner Matt Williams, Commissioner Paul Webb, Tommy Little, Todd Kaestner, Matt Milliken, and Brian Bethard. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Hester, the second. All in favor of the Education Committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? They're confirmed. Next, we have the Tax Study Committee. Commissioner Matt Williams, Greg Lawrence, Judy Herbert, Jeff Ford, and Sherry Clark. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Jones, Dwight Jones, Commissioner Danner, the second. All in favor of Tax Study Committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Tax Study Committee confirmed. The Public Health Committee, Bert Chalifant, Ricky Jones, Jeff Ford, Steve Smith, David Pear, Kathy Danner, and Bob Sturgeon. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Sturgeon is the second. All in favor of Public Health Committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Next, we have Hospital Board of Trustees, District 10 and 11, at-large member, term expiring, Mary Mills, nomination, Matt Williams. Commissioner Chalifant, Commissioner Allsbrooks, the second. Commissioner Danner.
How many county commissioners are on the Board of Trustees for the hospital currently, and how many can there be?
I don't know how many can be. 5?
You can only have 4.
4
is limited by private act. You can have up to 4. You currently have 3. Am I missing anybody?
3, including Matt?
Yes.
Who are the other 2?
Jack Walton, Bert Chalifant.
And when is the next one open?
There is no designated county commission seat. They come up by districts, and it's a staggered term, so you have anywhere from 3 to 4 on any given year. It's a 3-year term.
So when's the next one expiring?
Would be May of next year.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. We vote on that?
No.
On that. All in favor of Commissioner Williams signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And he is confirmed. Next, we have the consent agenda, which I believe the only thing on there is notaries. And so I'll move for approval. I mean, I'm asking for the motion. Mr. Jones, Commissioner Milliken, the second. These are loaded, so if you're in favor of the notaries, or the consent agenda, which is the notaries, signify by pushing your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
All right. Consent agenda passes. Next, we have moved up Resolution 1 and 2, so we'll proceed with Resolution 916-1. Resolution of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners, approval of an intent to fund up to $38,700,000 to finish construction for an elementary/middle school. Commissioner Ford?
Move for approval.
Mr. Milliken, the second. School Board, 10-4, 0 against. Budget Committee, Education Committee.
6 in favor, 0 against.
Budget Committee.
5 yes, 0 no.
All right. Explanation, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is $38 million to finish the construction on the Thompson Station Elementary Middle School.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 916-1, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 916-2. Resolution of the Williamson County Board of County Commissioners, approval of an intent to fund up to $15 million for design, site development, and purchase of land for a K-8 facility. Commissioner Ford?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Chalfant, second. School Board, 9-4, 0 against, 1 pass. Education Committee.
6-4, 0 against.
Budget Committee.
5 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is $15 million for the purchase of land, design, and site development for a K-8 in the Brentwood community.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. You ready to vote? If you're in favor of 916-2, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson. Oh, Mr. Beathard?
22 yes.
Okay. Resolution 916-3. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 capital projects budget by $3,164,420 for the purchase of various Williamson County schools maintenance capital needs. Revenues to come from adequate schools facility tax funds. Commissioner Ford?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Chalfant, second. Education Committee.
6-4, 0 against.
Budget Committee.
5 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You really have to take the next two and look at those together, or this one and the next one. We passed $8 million in capital needs for the school system in our July meeting, and this is simply the funding of those capital needs. So rather than borrowing the money, we're going to be taking it out of adequate schools facility tax for this one and out of privilege tax for the next one. So this is not approval of new projects. This is the previous projects, just how we're going to pay for them.
Commissioner Danner.
I'm in total approval of using these funds for what were intended to be used for. Just curious, did it come up in the Education Committee how much is left in these funds after this? Do you feel like we have enough?
It did. Nena, do you want to address how much is left in there, especially after the August collections?
We have not closed out August, so I don't have those final numbers yet. Let me get that. So we just have to go by the July report. At the end of July, the adequate school facilities tax had 4.2 million, and the schools had 4.5. So we would just reduce the amount out of that. One thing too that I would like to caution, we were able to fund both of these requests out of these. That will pull those balances down very low. As you know, we use these funds during our budget process as well. So the remainder of the year, we would need to let these grow and build back up so that we would have them available for the 17-18 budget process.
Yes.
All right. Follow up, okay.
No, that's why I was asking.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Sturgeon? Commissioner Sturgeon?
Nena, I was just curious, is there an approximate figure in your head that we need to build it up to before the end of the year? Or before we could maybe possibly spend it on something else?
No, I would really have to wait till everything is funded. You know, now we, on our debt service, we do the multi-term structure. That means we look at the assets, if they have a 5-year life, 10-year, 15, 20-year life. We build our debt schedules based on that. What that does over time, it does save you money in the long run because of interest, but in the short term, that does increase the amount of debt that you're going to have in your near term. So that's one thing that I would caution. This past year, in both the general debt and rural debt, we used $5 million each. But with the new structure of the multi-term debt, we're probably going to need to let these kind of build back up to be able to fund our short-term payments that will be coming due.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 916-3, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 916-4, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 capital projects budget by $4,835,580 to fund various Williamson County capital needs for technology. Revenues to come from education privilege tax funds. Commissioner Ford?
Move for approval.
Mr. Chalfant, a second. Education Committee?
It was 6-4, 0 against.
Budget Committee?
5 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the companion to the previous resolution, taking 4.8 out of education privilege tax funds.
Okay. It's the same thing but different. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 916-4, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 916-6, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-2017 library budget by $7,000, revenues to come from miscellaneous donations. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Second.
Who was my second? Commissioner Smith? Library Board?
Library Board, 7-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
5 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
These are donations received from various individuals and organizations, and they will be utilized to purchase new library books.
All right. Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 916-6, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 916-7, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-2017 library budget by $49,466.73, revenues to come from miscellaneous donations. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Library Board?
Library Board, 7-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
5 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
These are additional revenues from different donations of individuals and organizations. These funds will be used for library books, media, and other supplies and materials.
All right. Commissioner Nena?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just curious, why we can't combine, like, the resolution before this and this one together? Why can't we just combine all the library donations into one resolution?
Good question. The previous one was current year donations, and this one is from reserves that were closed at fiscal year end.
So two different buckets, 2 different years? Okay.
And that's what many of these resolutions that you're going to see coming before you, a lot of them are reserves that were closed at the end of the fiscal year. So that we're just bringing those back out now so that they can be expended.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? I see none. You ready to vote? If you're in favor of Resolution 916-7, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 916-8, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 library budget by $17,088, revenues to come from library fines. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Jones, the second. Library Board?
Library Board, 7-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
5 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
These are funds received from fines of people who just can't seem to return their books on time. And it will be utilized to purchase additional library books.
It's amazing to me.
It's amazing.
Any questions?
Yep.
Anybody got a library book out? All in favor of Resolution 916-8, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9169, resolution amending the 2016-17 Highway Department budget and appropriating up to $323,330.25 for paving expenses, revenues to come from highway fund balance. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Smith, the second.
And
Highway Commission,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
first, could I make an amendment to the text of the resolution?
Let me read the committees, get the committees
Okay.
on, and then I'll come back to you,
All right.
Steve. Highway Commission, I assume 5-4-0 against? Yes. Yeah. Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
All right. Now, Commissioner Smith?
If you look on the resolution in your packet under revenues, it says state aid program. That is a timing issue from 1 year to the next. The funds actually went into from the state aid program, actually went into the unappropriated highway fund balance, which is where the money now needs to come from. So there's no change in the dollars. There's no change in the intent or what has happened. It's just we need to be precise about where the money is coming from, and that is from the unappropriated highway fund balance.
And we have a printed copy of the amendment at your desk. So. And the amendment is loaded.
Okay.
Any discussion on the amendment? A proper.
I make that motion.
And Commissioner Allsbrook's the second. Any discussion on the amendment? I see none. You ready to vote on the amendment? If you're in favor of the amendment, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
All right, so the amendment passes. Now we're back to Resolution 9169 as amended. Any discussion on the resolution? Commissioner Webb?
Just a housekeeping item, the title is a penny off of the amount we just voted on the amendment. Just note that. We don't need to, yeah, I can see numbers, so, thank you.
There's one accountant in every group.
Todd told me to do that.
Right. Oh, Todd. Okay. Will, duly noted, that's a typo. Any discussion? I'll see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9169 as amended and corrected, push your yes button. If you oppose, push your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 911610, resolution amending the 2016-17 Highway Department budget and appropriating up to $210,000 for road salt, revenues to come from unappropriated highway fund balance. Commissioner Green?
Move approval.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Highway Commission, 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
These are funds necessary to replenish the required salt we're going to need this winter, to the tune of 3,000 tons of salt.
Any discussion on this? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 911610, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 911611, resolution amending the 2016-17 Highway Department budget and appropriating up to $100,000 for Highway Department bridge construction. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Hester, the second. Highway Commission, 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee,
5 yes, 0 no.
explanation, Commissioner Green.
The Highway Department is responsible for the maintenance and repair of bridges, and they've completed a replacement of a third bridge in December of 16, and additional funding is required to do 2 bridges in the second half of the coming fiscal year.
Okay. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-16-11, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-16-12, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 capital projects budget by $200,000 for preliminary engineering and survey costs, revenues to come from unappropriated highway fund balance.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Smith, the motion, and Commissioner Osbrooks, the second. Highway Commission, 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee,
5 yes, 0 no.
explanation, Commissioner Smith.
These are additional costs outside the current budget for the Highway Department to complete the necessary work on the major corridor study within the county, engineering, property surveys, those sorts of things.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-16-12, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-16-13, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 public transportation capital projects budget by $24,938, revenues to come from reserve account, county general fund balance. Commissioner Smith?
Move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Osbrooks, the second. Budget Committee?
5 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Smith.
These are funds that have been put in the county general fund from rider fees with the van pool program, and there's a need to replace some vans and the need to pull that $24,938 from the general fund balance.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-16-13, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-16-14, resolution accepting a donation of $10,000 from the Friends of Williamson County Animal Center on behalf of Williamson County Animal Center and appropriating and amending the 2016-2017 Animal Center budget by $10,000, revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Clark?
Move for approval.
Who was Commissioner Kaestner, the second. Public Health Committee?
4-4-0 against.
All right. Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
All right. Explanation, Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is $10,000 in donations to help fund where the Animal Center has determined there's a need to control feral cat population, and the Friends of Williamson County Animal Center are who's donating.
Okay. All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-16-14, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-16-15, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a grant agreement with the State of Tennessee Department of Health and appropriating and amending the 2016-17 animal control budget by $3,100, revenues to come from state grant funds. Commissioner Clark?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Kaestner, the second. Public Health Committee?
4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are funds to be accepted from the State of Tennessee Department of Health Animal Friendly Grant Program. It helps us to provide low-cost sterilization for dogs and cats.
All right. Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-16-15, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wish to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Laura, did you want to comment on any one of those? Okay. Thought I'd ask. Resolution 9-16-16, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Health Department budget by $53,053.24, revenues to come from state grant funds. Commissioner Clark?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Kaestner, the second. Public Health Committee?
4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are funds, grant funds to be accepted to help us address primary prevention incentives targeting middle school youth, pregnant women, and secondhand smoke affecting children. And as I understand it, it's what is left over from last year that we are reallocating to this same initiative.
Okay. Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-16-16, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-16-17, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a grant agreement with PetSmart Charities Incorporated on behalf of the Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption Center and appropriating and amending the 2016-17 animal control budget by $13,600, revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Clark?
Move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Kaestner, the second. Public Health Committee?
4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Clark.
These are grant funds that we'd like to receive for training courses to help support the rescue wagon program.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-16-17, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-16-18, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 assessor's budget by $6,760.65 for educational incentive salary supplements, revenues to come from state funds. Commissioner Smith?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Alsbrooks, the second. Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Smith.
These are grant funds from the state for educational attainment. The revenues do come from the state. They do not go directly to the employees. They go through the general budget of the county. So we need to move those out and make those available for the employees.
Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 91618, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 91619, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Williamson County General Sessions DUI budget by $93,509.70 for the DUI program. Revenues to come from federal grant funds. Commissioner Milliken.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Herbert, the second. Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee.
6-4-0 against.
Budget Committee.
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These funds are grant funds that are carryover from last year that were not used, and we just need to move them forward so we can use them this year.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 91619, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 91620, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 juvenile services budget by $38,711.48. Revenues to come from federal through state grant funds. Commissioner Milliken.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Herbert, the second. Law Enforcement Committee.
6-0.
Budget Committee.
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These are the funds that were unexpended last year and need to be moved forward this year for use in the Substance Abuse Risk Reduction Program at the juvenile court.
All right, any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 91620, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 91621, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to enter into a contractual agreement with the Tennessee Governor's Highway Safety Office for the continuation of a juvenile court substance abuse risk reduction program and amending the 2016-17 juvenile court budget by $60,000. Revenues to come from federal funds received through state grant funds. Commissioner Milliken.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Hester, second. Law Enforcement Committee.
6-0.
Budget Committee.
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These are federal funds received through state funds in order to conduct a substance abuse risk reduction program at the juvenile court. We were able to hear some of the data on this in our committee, and the work they do is quite impressive, working with our young at-risk juveniles.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 91621, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm.
Excuse me again.
Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes.
Yeah.
No.
Resolution 91622, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 juvenile court budget by $128,000. Revenues to come from state grant. Commissioner Milliken.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Herbert, second. Law Enforcement Committee.
6-0.
Budget Committee.
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These are funds from DCS and a 3-year grant to be used for intensive probation in juvenile court. These pay for personnel monitoring for youth who have been sentenced to intensive probation.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1622, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Excuse me. Resolution 9-1623. Resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 General Sessions Veterans Court budget by $7,497.77, revenues to come from court costs. Commissioner Milliken?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Herbert's the second. Law Enforcement Committee?
6-0.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These funds come from the $55 fee we added to anyone who's found in violation of the Tennessee Drug Control Act. These funds will be used for drug and alcohol tests in the Veterans Court.
All right, any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1623, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-1624, resolution appropriating $48,843.75 to the 21st Drug Court Incorporated, revenues to come from DUI fines. Commissioner Milliken?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Sturgeon, the second. Law Enforcement Committee?
6-0.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These revenues are collected from convicted DUI offenders at $100 per conviction and will be used by the 21st Judicial District Drug Court to continue to provide treatment and services for the participants of the program.
All right. Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of 9-1624, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution appropriating and amending the General Sessions 21st Drug Court Incorporated budget by $60,706.10, revenues to come from reserve account. Commissioner Milliken?
We need to move for approval, but I think we have a typo in the heading. I don't think we need it to say General Sessions. I think it should just say 21st Drug Court, Inc. budget. Am I right on that? Okay. So we need to delete General Sessions from that.
Okay. Is that just Jeff or just Jeff?
Treat that as a typo.
Okay, we'll treat that as a typo. Will you make a note and correct that?
Then move for approval.
Okay. Mr. Sturgeon, the second. Law Enforcement Committee,
6-0.
Budget Committee,
4 yes, 0 no.
explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These are fees that have been collected and will be used for the ongoing operation of the 21st Judicial District Drug Court, Inc.
All right. Any questions, discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1625, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-1626, resolution appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Williamson County Sheriff's Office budget by $7,523.51, revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Mr. Milliken?
Move for approval.
Mr. Sturgeon, the second. Law Enforcement Committee?
6-0.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
We've had several well-known names and others in our community who have donated this money. This money goes to Gunner's Guardians, which provides active or vests for active canine officers, as well as food and care for retired canine officers.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9/1626, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9/1627. Resolution accepting a donation from the DUI Court Foundation of Williamson County Incorporated and appropriating and amending the 2016-17 Williamson County General Sessions Court budget by $15,080.48. Revenues to come from fund balance. Mr. Milliken?
Move for approval.
Mr. Sturgeon, the second. Law Enforcement Committee?
6-0.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
These are leftover funds from the previous fiscal year, which need to be carried over into the next fiscal year to be used by the DUI court.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9/1627, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9/1615. Resolution amending, 9/16-5. Resolution amending the previously adopted resolution to correct the certified tax rate based on the 2016 reappraisal program in Williamson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016. Commissioner Osbrook?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Smith, the second. Budget Committee?
5 yes, 0 no.
Tax Committee?
3 yes, 0 no.
All right. Explanation, Commissioner Osbrook.
Yes, as you may recall, this body voted for a certified tax rate at our July meeting. We were told that that tax rate was inaccurate. So this is the corrected certified tax rate of $186.71. It does not affect the property rate that was adopted.
All right. Any discussion? Mr. Kaestner?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Previously, I understood the tax increase was about 19%, I think it was 18.7. With this correction, it makes it 15.15%, in case anybody asks you. That's 215 divided by 1.8671, so where we thought it was 19%, it's really 15%.
Thank you for that. All right. Any further discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9/16-5, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9/1628. Resolution to adopt a policy to permit the Williamson County Mayor to authorize the serving of alcohol beverages at Academy Park for certain events.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Dwight Jones, the second. Parks and Rec Committee. Budget Committee.
That's not correct. I voted against it in committee.
Oh, okay. In Parks?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't have it on here. I'll stand corrected. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Budget Committee?
4 yes, 1 no.
All right. Explanation, Commissioner Smith.
This is a policy that will be very similar to what's being used at the Ag Expo Center to allow the mayor to authorize serving, not sale, but serving of alcoholic beverages under certain conditions at the Academy Park facilities for certain events. And that's all.
All right. Commissioner Hester?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to express my concern about the serving of alcoholic beverages here in this situation. I'm sure that it has every possibility of being great, but I am concerned about people overindulging and then driving. Thank you.
Any further comments? You ready to vote? If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1628, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. All right, record the vote, Sanders.
16 yes, 4 no,
Resolution passes.
and 2 abstained.
And we got 2 abstentions, so we got 16 yes, so it passes. Resolution 9-1629, resolution authorizing Williamson County Mayor to enter into a cooperative agreement with the United States Department of Justice Drug Enforcement Administration. Commissioner Milliken? Proper motion.
Second.
Commissioner Smith, the second. Law Enforcement Committee,
5-0.
Budget Committee,
4 yes, 0 no.
explanation, Commissioner Milliken.
This cooperative agreement will allow the mayor to enter into a contract with the DEA to combat the trafficking and use of narcotics in Williamson County. Additionally, it allows us to receive a portion of any seized or confiscated items.
All right. Any questions? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1629, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Sanders.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-1630, resolution authorizing Williamson County Mayor to enter into a right-of-way easement with Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Corp. For the provision of new electrical services. Commissioner Jones?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Ricky Jones, the second. Property Committee?
5-4, 0 against.
Law Enforcement Committee? Mr. Milliken? That's all right.
Looking ahead. 5-4-0 against.
All
Sorry
right.
about that.
Explanation, Commissioner Dwight Jones.
This is for the siren up on the hill at the Ag Park.
We did it budget too.
Just a right-of-way easement.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1630, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
Commissioner Green,
Luke?
22 yes, 0 no.
All right. Resolution passes. Resolution 9-1631, resolution authorizing Williamson County Mayor to enter into a right-of-way easement with the City of Franklin for an installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of Bridge Street and Second Avenue. Commissioner Smith?
Move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Osbrooks, the second. Property Committee?
6-4, 0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Smith.
Actually, I'd prefer Commissioner Osbrooks or someone from property to,
Okay.
This is
Get
a
that.
red light that's taking place at the corner of Bridge Street and Second Avenue. The City of Franklin's needing this easement or.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1631, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-1632, resolution to exempt certain motor vehicles that are registered in the county from vehicle inspection requirements. Commissioner Smith?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Allsbrooks, Budget Committee,
4 yes, 0 no.
explanation, Commissioner Smith.
Laws passed recently allow us to exempt cars 3 years old and newer from going through the admissions testing. It will ease pressure on the admissions testing system, will cost us a little bit of money from, we get $1 a car, I think, but would ask for your approval.
All right. Commissioner Lawrence?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add an amendment to this resolution tonight, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. I did a study with Representative Glenn Kaestner last year, and we looked at the numbers from the vehicle emission testing, and the numbers going back at least 8 years show that vehicles in our county are overwhelmingly passing the vehicle emission testing. In fact, 97% of all cars prior to 2008. This study was done in 2014. I guess we went through all the way to 2014. So we had 178,000 cars tested, and out of that 8-year period, 97% of them passed. So what that tells us is if there are air quality problems in Williamson County, it's not because the vehicles of our citizens are causing the problem. And beyond that, we've got millions of vehicles coming through here every year from I-40 into the west, and I-65 from the north and the south, and we have no control over any of those vehicles as to what kind of emissions they have, and we have visitors coming to our county every year that have vehicles that are we have no control over. So what I had asked Commissioner Representative Kaestner to do was to look into the possibility of getting the state of Tennessee exempted. The numbers in Davidson County, Wilson County, Rutherford County, they're all very similar to ours, and they're not quite as good as Williamson County's. But basically, what this is a big nuisance for everybody. It's a big expense that we all have to go through. You're actually creating more pollution. You got 200,000 more trips that people have to make to the vehicle testing center every year to get the vehicles tested, and it's not producing any significant results as far as air quality goes. So, what I would like to add is just an amendment that says that I would like to draft a letter to our state and federal representatives urging them to pass legislation that will petition the EPA to exempt the state of Tennessee from vehicle inspection requirements. There's a couple of states that have already done this. Minnesota and the state of Kentucky have gotten exemptions from the EPA, and I think it's time for Tennessee to try to apply for an exemption and see if we can get not only our citizens, but all the citizens in Middle Tennessee and other counties in the state that have to go through this from having to go through something that's basically become it's a very unpopular requirement that we require the citizens to have, and it's not producing any significant results.
So your motion is to draft a letter?
Right, and I'll be happy to work with staff to draft a letter and also provide the research on the testing results from the tests that are done in Williamson County and other counties around Middle Tennessee.
Proper motion, is there a second? Second. Mr. Sturgeon seconded. Bobby, can you come up and I assume you're the one to ask. I know we talked about this. Even if we pass it, it's still got to be approved at the federal level. Is that right? State and federal level?
Right. Before it can become effective, we have to the state has got to get approval from the EPA. I'm not sure what the amendment does to the resolution. The resolution is specific to the law and provides an exemption to the specific law. I'm not sure you need to amend the resolution to draft a letter to request the state to try and get exempt from all of it. This is just a resolution specific to a certain law.
Would it be better for me to draft a separate resolution?
I would think so, instead of tripping this one up.
Okay, all right, I'll withdraw my amendment.
Okay.
Okay, and draft
Barb,
the
you
separate.
second that. All right. Back to the original resolution, I had several people who wanted to, Commissioner Williams, did you want to talk on the?
Yeah, just for my own education, are there any projections out there as to what's the impact to revenue from this? And then also, what's the projected savings for the taxpayers from this too?
I could do a little quick math for you just on the last three. If you look at 3 years out, you're probably looking about 30,000 vehicles that are 3 years old or less in Williamson County.
So we're losing $30,000 a year effectively. And then saving, was it $11, $10 for a taxpayer to go through and do that?
$9.
$9.
Right.
Let's see, who's number two? Commissioner Ricky Jones?
I was just go ask Commissioner, I think most of us would be okay with that letter just to let it stand alone.
Okay.
That's all I was gonna bring forward.
All right. Commissioner Milliken? Okay. Commissioner Sturgeon?
My question was answered.
Okay. I don't see any other discussion. If you're ready to vote, if you're in favor of Resolution 9-1632, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. David? Oh, he's out. Okay. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
Okay. 20 yes, 1 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-1633, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a grant agreement with the State of Tennessee Department of Health for the provision of dental services at the Williamson County Health Department in an amount not to exceed $175,800. Commissioner Clark?
Move for approval.
Second.
Who was my second?
Kaestner.
Commissioner Kaestner? Oh. Public Health Committee?
4 0 against.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These are funds to be accepted from the State Department of Health to assist Williamson County Health Department in providing licensed dentists and a dental assistant.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1633, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9-1634, resolution declaring certain Williamson County-owned property and equipment surplus property and authorizing the sale of the property and equipment. Mr. Jones?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Herbert, the second. Property Committee?
5-4-0 against.
Budget Committee?
4 yes, 0 no.
Explanation, Commissioner Jones.
The following page has a list of cars and equipment that we're selling. It's just surplus.
All right. Any discussion? Commissioner Danner?
When is the auction, just so folks can know?
October 1st. Commissioner Pear?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if there's anybody here that could answer this. The 2010 pumper fire truck.
It's been totaled,
Thank you.
but they'll make you a deal on it.
Yeah.
Any further questions? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9-1634, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 9/1635, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a corridor management agreement. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Pear, the second. Highway Commission, 5-4-0 against. Budget Committee,
4 yes, 0 no.
explanation, Commissioner Green.
This is an agreement with the Tennessee Department of Transportation for various counties: Williamson County, Murray, City of Franklin, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Columbia, and the Nashville Metropolitan Planning Organization. Purpose of the agreement is set forth obligations to develop a supplemental traffic management and operation for Route 6 corridor strategies to address congestion and safety.
All right. Any discussion? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 9/1635, push your yes button and confirm. Opposed, your no button and confirm. Anyone wishing to change their vote, do so at this time. Record the vote, Ms. Anderson.
22 yes, 0 no.
Resolution passes. Before we adjourn, I've got a couple of things. Mr. Dwight Jones mentioned about a conference coming up. If you'll call the mayor's office and tell them that you would like to attend, because the conference will call the mayor's office and say how many you got coming. So you need to RSVP through the mayor's office. That's right. Also, the girls in the office, and talking to them on your meetings that we approved you to earlier today, do your best to make those and keep those times. The girls are having problems getting a quorum, and so, you know, just try to commit to being at those meetings, because it's difficult to try to, if they don't get a quorum, to try to keep calling everybody to see when everybody's available. So try to make those meeting times, and that will make life much more better for the girls in the mayor's office. Commissioner Danner?
I think we have one more resolution, right? I just wanted to, I have an announcement as well, though, so before we dismiss, I'd like a chance to just be able to say that.
What do we have?
37.
Oh, one in my packet. You're correct. Okay. Now, Resolution 9/1637, a resolution to modify personal policies of Williamson County, Tennessee, relating to sick and vacation policies. Commissioner Green?
Move for approval.
Commissioner Dwight Jones, second. HR Committee? Four, 0 against. Explanation, Commissioner Green?
This is a policy change. It's a revision to the sick time and vacational benefit policies that have become necessary and advisable to be changed within the county.
Any discussion? Kate, you got it?
It's not letting me load that one. It's saying that we already voted on it, although we did not.
Can we do voice vote? Yeah, we'll do a voice vote. Let's see, Commissioner Sturgeon?
Yeah, in a nutshell, can you just explain what the basic change is?
Pardon?
What's,
There,
I mean,
they show in.
why was it necessary?
You want to address those
Mike,
for me?
can you come up and explain that?
Excuse me, Commissioner, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know in a nutshell why this change was necessary and what exactly is the crux of the issue.
Well, the purpose of the, and it's not really a change in policy, it's giving structure to the policy more correctly. We have where you accrue per month of vacation time and sick time. And what we're addressing here is to give some structure of how much or how many days and how many hours should an employee be required at least to work in that month to be able to accrue that vacation time. It comes into question where you have some people that may be on a leave of absence when they return to work within the end of the month or during the month, or when someone retires or resigns or from their position, do they receive the accrual of that hours of vacation time or not? And so essentially what we're saying in this is, you know, similar to a lot of other organizations, that you work a minimum of, we have 120 hours, so equivalent of 15 work days in order to receive that accrual. We've had cases where somebody might be on a leave of absence and return on the 28th day of the month. And, you know, under our old policy, I had to grant that because that's the way the policy was written. And so we're coming back to add some structure
Okay,
to that.
more definition.
More definition.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Anything
Thank you,
else?
Mike. Any other questions? I see none. If you're in favor of resolution, the last one, resolution 9/1637, push your yes button. Oh, I'm sorry. Voice vote. If you're in favor of resolution 9/1637, signify by saying aye. If you're opposed, let me know. All right. Okay.
Just want to remind everyone, the fellow commissioners, that you all received this invitation for this Friday evening. And speaking, echoing Commissioner Kaestner's words on how great our rescue squad is. So this Friday is the 50th anniversary banquet, and several of those members will be recognized for 30 years of service. So I will be attending. I encourage you all to please go.
Very good.
That's it.
If there be no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And I got 21 seconds.
Yeah, you do need to.